Okay, so this is for 7th grade. You've already gone through and learned a little bit about volume and cubic units, so this is your homework. The great part about these is you will see them for every homework, and it's just what you already know. So I'm going to kind of put in a little bit of what I know, but you also want to make sure that you're putting in what you know. So you already went through all of this, all of the modeling and exploring about one unit, and that a unit cube has one unit on each side. So I'm going to add that information to the part that says what is it. So right here it says what is it. I'm going to add that a cubic unit is the measurement used with cubes, right? And you've done that. It can measure length, width, and height. You have that information. If you've already put that, you can put additional information, just anything you know about a cubic unit. You can go back and look. And when I look, it says a unit cube has 1 cubic unit of volume. So I can say it's volume for a 3D figure, right? And then what do you know about that? So like it's measurement. It's just additional information. So what is it? What is a cubic unit? I put those 3 things. Cubic units are used to measure the volume of a solid figure. So we can say it is used to measure the volume of a solid figure. So the great thing about going through these pages previously with Miss Olson is that now you know where to find the information, so I would just keep scrolling back up. So what I know about it, it is used to measure the volume of a solid figure. So you can pause there and type all of this. I'm going to keep moving on. It says, why do you use cubic units instead of square units? So we can add that to what we know about it. Mrs. Olson mentioned that it's a 3D object. So we can say it is used for 3D objects that are cube shaped, square. Yeah, I don't want to say square because I don't want to get confused. So we're just going to say it's used for 3D objects that are cube shaped. And it looks like this, units cubed. Oh, 3. Try to get my 3 to be smaller, but if you can't, think of it as a very small 3. Units cubed, right? Or cubed units. You can write either way. So I can say 5 units cubed or 5 cubed units. More examples are going on down here. You could say the volume of this cube is 6 units cubed, right? And then you would just draw something that has the units in there. So you can insert anything that you need to in order to make that work. For my tools, I can use this kind of a shape. It doesn't work as well, but you guys know how to draw a cube. I can also use from the example. I'm good with the screenshot. So if you look at the volume here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I can take a screenshot, put that one in as an example, and that one would be 12 cube units. Cube units. And then I'm going to take my screenshot and move it in there. Okay, so I went ahead and did the volume. So the volume of this is 6 units cubed. And you can tell that because I drew 3D blocks and I labeled the front face. So here's 1 block, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you want to make sure you're drawing it in 3D because that's why it's cubed. These are all cubes stacked on top of each other. And then I did one with 10 cubed units. So just make sure you have the slants going back here so you can see that it's 3D, that it's a 3D block. And I labeled the front face just so that the teacher would know that this is 10 cubed units because this is the front face. Okay, and then right here you wanted to make your own example to show the teacher that you know it on your own. And then Lamont says that this diagram shows a solid figure with a volume of 6 cubic units. Is he correct? Well, he said solid figure, so I'm going to have you go back to page 5, where it says a solid figure is a 3-dimensional figure. So look at this and look at how it has the side box and the top box. And when we look here, there's no side or top. See, even for ours, we made sides and tops. There's no side and top, so he can't be correct that it's that it has a volume that is solid. That he can't. He's saying it's a solid figure. So let's start with that. So the figure is not solid because it is not 3D. Right? If it's not 3D, then it's not solid. Okay, and then the volume is length times width times height, right? Like length times width times height. Sometimes you'll see base, but I just want the teacher to know that you know that it has to be this bottom and the top and the side. So it looks like it is 6 squared units, but it is not 6 cubed units. And that's very important because with 3D you were all figuring out what the square root was, and then this one you're doing 3D. So as long as you say it's not solid because it's not 3D, and then you explain how you find volume, you can say that it's 6 squared units and not 6 cubed units. Okay. So now we've got to solve. Maya uses unit cubes to help measure the volume. She thinks the volume is 8. Do you agree? So the nice part is that we can use our length times width times height to solve this. Some of them you can count all the cubes and some of you can't. So I'm going to do length times width times height, and then based off of what I get there, I can count them and double check. So when I look at the volume, I can see, I'm going to do my length, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 is how long it is. Then I want to do going backwards how fat it is, what's the width. So I always say, how chunky is it? So we've got 1, 2. It's going, there's a first layer and a second layer. So the width there is 2. And then I want to see how tall is it being stacked. And that's really easy because there's only one stacking. There's nothing stacked on top of here. If you see here, there's 1, 2, 3 stacks. Here, only 1 stack. So then I have 1. Now that I labeled it, which you always want to do on your tests and quizzes and your homework, I can multiply. So then I rewrite my formula. Volume equals, length was 4, width was 2, height was 1. Okay, then I rewrite and I do my GEL, which is, if you haven't learned from your teacher yet, you will, but it's basically I want to go left to right with my multiplication. So 4 times 2 is first, 4 times 2 is 8, then you take 8 and you do 8 times whatever is left. So if you see right here, what's left is 1. So we do 8 times 1 equals 8. Cubed, this is huge, cubed units. You need to always make sure you're saying cubed units. She thinks the volume is 8 cubic units. Let me make sure I match her. 8 cubic units. We agree because we proved it, right? So let's count the boxes too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I agree because the box fits 8 units.